where fire would come down from heaven to light a fire by itself, Genesis 15 and a whole bunch of other places, Judges chapter 14. That was a common occurrence of God honoring and dedicating something. So for the New Testament to say that this manipulative figure in the future is going to use that as a manipulative false sign to trick everyone, that would be something I would say, watch out. Because if that's your only litmus test for is God real, I would hate for you to be deceived, because that's literally been already told to you. That's going to be the exact sign to try to deceive you.
I don't say there is no God categorically that of any sort. I'm totally open to there being a God. I'm open to miracles. I would love to see one, but I have a high standard, like none of this back pain healing type stuff. So yeah, I don't know if you want to.
You're talking like you want a New Testament or even Old Testament miracle where like a paralytic person walks, or a blind person can see now, or a
1 Kings 18. That's what I want. There's precedent for it.
You mean like a Mount Carmel experience?
The Baal, is it 1 Kings or 2 Kings? The Baal, and then you take wood, soak it in water. Yeah.
It's Elijah on Mount Carmel with the prophets of Baal.
Is that bad of me to ask for that?
No, I mean, it depends on, I guess, your emotional motivation, I suppose, because, Yeshua, Jesus, he talked to the Pharisees because they always demanded a sign, and he told them, this generation is not going to get a sign, because he had already been giving them signs left and right, healing people, and they still didn't believe. So I guess that would be the only thing I would say. It's okay to ask for a sign, because he did tell them at the end of that sentence, the only sign you're going to get is the sign of Jonah, which is a resurrection. And that's obviously what Jesus exemplified in the story. And that's where, even though he was doing signs of healing, the Pharisees were still saying, no, you can't be the guy that we've always been told is going to show up. And that was, the blind seeing, the lepers cleansed, the lame walking. Those were prophesied in Isaiah for Jesus to do, and they still were not believing, even though he was doing it in front of their face. And I guess that would be the only internal litmus test, I would say. I can't really say it's good or bad for you personally. Like if you were seeing that kind of stuff and you still say it's not enough, I need another one, you might have a heart issue. But if there was a genuine sign that you saw and you said, okay, maybe I need to reevaluate some things, that's normal. That's natural.
Yeah, I nobody can see the future, but I really think that my confidence would be raised high enough to believe that Christianity is true. If in the name of Jesus, that wood went on fire. But there's a lot of atheists who get mad at me when I say stuff like that, because they say, well, how do you know it's not a trick? And well, you can test these things.
Well, let me throw something at you real quick. I know you're going somewhere else with this, but before we move on, in 1 Kings 18, that whole quote unquote showdown was for political power of the nation of Israel. And the prophet was supposed to be someone that encouraged the people to follow the behavior of the creator, of Yahweh. And the people had stopped doing that, and they started worshiping other quote unquote little g gods, other false idols, and doing their behavior, which included human sacrifice, drinking blood, mass ritual orgies, and all kinds of other stuff that was very destructive to the community. So there was a power play, and you had King Ahab and Jezebel were the king and queen ruling during that time, and they had their own quote unquote priests and prophets. This is these 400 people that died as a result of this challenge in the story. And so as Elijah goes up there with his crew, so to speak, the people that were wanting to do the behavior of Yahweh and get the nation back into their covenant behavior, they did this huge, altar, right? And they set up the stakes to be extra difficult for it to light the fire.
Right.
And it said fire came down from heaven and still lit the fire, right? In the New Testament, one of the quote unquote signs of the false prophet and the beast, or the Antichrist, is that they actually have the power to call fire down from heaven. And what a lot of modern believers don't understand, because they don't read their Old Testament, and that's probably something we're going to talk about later. A lot of modern believers in the churches, they think that that's going to be, they have no clue how to interpret that verse in Revelation. But if you understood the process of sacrifice in the Old Testament, how many times that particular thing happened, both in Leviticus, 1 Kings 18 and chapter 7, where fire would come down from heaven to light a fire by itself, Genesis 15 and a whole bunch of other places, Judges chapter 14. That was a common occurrence of God honoring and dedicating something. So for the New Testament to say that this manipulative figure in the future is going to use that as a manipulative false sign to trick everyone, that would be something I would say, watch out. Because if that's your only litmus test for is God real, I would hate for you to be deceived, because that's literally been already told to you. That's going to be the exact sign to try to deceive you.
Are you saying that if someone performs an amazing, amazing miracle in the name of Jesus, that could be Satan?
An amazing miracle in the name of Jesus. Well,
Yeah.
Jesus said, if anyone performs miracles in my name, he cannot soon after deny me. So the figure that I'm just referencing out of Revelation, who's called the beast or the Antichrist and the false prophet, they're not going to come in the name of Jesus to
Okay.
act like they're the Messiah. They're literally going to
That's
be
what I
trying to
look for, right? If Christianity is true, I would, okay, is this person doing this in the name of Jesus or not?
Yeah, well, with the actual Jesus himself, the whole story of his return is called the Day of the Lord. It's mentioned all over the place in the Old Testament, and that you will not miss, my friend. That when that day actually happens, um, all those who like you'll literally, he's supposed to be coming from the sky. He's not going to show up as a political figure and try to do, light an altar sacrifice with fire from heaven. He's literally going to be coming from the sky. There's a massive earthquake, Isaiah chapter 30 verse 25 and Revelation 16:18, that destroys all the cities of the world. There's a massive disruption of the whole ecosystem, and he's coming with a bunch of angelic characters, a bunch of angels, to actually fight the kings of the earth who are trying to fight against him. So you won't miss that day, I promise.